This is Wealth Management is for Everyone. It's part of a 7-part series, the second in the 7-part series that we're hosting on financial empowerment. My name is Mihaela Nyberg, and I'm the Small Business Services Coordinator at ANCA. I'm also joined by Lauren Richard, who's our Small Business Program Director, and she'll be facilitating today's panel. I'm going to hand things off to Lauren to introduce ANCA for any new folks and introduce our panelists.
Thank you, Mihaela. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what ANCA is and who we are in case you're not familiar. So ANCA stands for the Adirondack North Country Association. We are a nonprofit economic development organization serving the 14 northernmost counties of New York State, which are listed here on the screen. We have about 23 staff across the North Country, and our headquarters are in Saranac Lake. We are really focused on building a new economy that works for all, building prosperity across the region, across Northern New York, and creating and sustaining wealth and value in local communities. So that's part of why we're doing this financial empowerment webinar series that you're part of today. We really want to empower everybody in the region to be prosperous and do the best that they can with what they have. So this isn't necessarily about becoming wealthy. I mean, if you want to do that, that's okay too. But it's really about using what you have available to you and making it work for you. So I hope you're able to take something away with you today that's useful. ANCA's work is funded in many ways, including federal, state, and local grants, philanthropic dollars, event fees, donations, and memberships to keep us working for you. Your participation and support are greatly appreciated. So by attending this webinar today, you are part of ANCA and our mission and on our work, and we really are grateful to you for that. There's more information about that available on our website, adirondack.org, under support. So we have, I'm going to hold this till afterward, a little bit more about what's coming next. So we'll come back to this afterward. But for now, I want to tell you a little bit more about our panelists who are joining us today, and we'll get right into it. So I just have to find my tab again really quick, and we'll go from there. So, all right. So today we're joined by Christian Blue. We have 3 panelists who are all professional financial planners, and Christian began his career with Edward Jones, serving clients in Plattsburgh, Saranac Lake, and Malone. He believes in a holistic approach to wealth strategies, considering all aspects of his client's financial life before making strategy recommendations. Say hi. And
couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you.
We have Marla Gilman, who is the founder of Catered Financials and a self-proclaimed foodie turned finance nerd. Before launching her financial coaching career, she spent a decade studying finance as a way to ensure her food truck and catering business would thrive. That journey inspired her to start Catered Financials, where she helps others build the same sense of stability, clarity, and direction with their money. And lastly, we have Christina Ubel, who is co-owner of a certified financial planner at Clute Wealth Management. Christina works with the firm's clients to help them develop financial strategies. She enjoys the opportunity to work with individuals and small business owners on a daily basis, helping them to pursue both their financial and personal goals. So thank you all for being here with us today. We really appreciate you and your time. So we have a few prepared questions for you all that we're going to go through so the audience can hear a little bit more about kind of who you are, why you're doing this work, why you care about it, and some of your recommendations. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A session with the audience. So we're going to have an opportunity for each of the panelists to answer each of the questions, and we'll get right into it. So firstly, why did you get into wealth management, and or why did you do it today? Or why do you still do it today? I'm going to go opposite direction as I did the intros in, so we'll start with you, Christina.
Should have known.
Somebody's got to go first, right?
Right. So I've been in this long enough where when I was in school, I didn't even know that this was a career field. I just remember concentrating on the fact that I knew that I would love working with people and money. So I thought HR or banks was the way that I was going to go. And I happened to be working with someone who knew someone, right? That's always the way it works. And I quickly fell in love with the fast paced and challenging environment that this industry really is. I still wake up every day, like excited for work, planning out my day ahead. And it's been over 25 years. So there's always certifications and designations and new licenses that you can go for so you don't feel stagnant, which is really important for people to feel like that they're on a good path. I started as a trading assistant. So I worked up from that position to now being the majority owner of the firm. It's pretty awesome. I would say I would highly recommend it for people that like to be challenged and can handle the ups and downs that can come with being in the financial industry. Um, why I still do it, other than being that I do love it, is I remember when I heard about it that it resonated with me because our trademark a number of years ago we made was providing financial strategies for women in transition. And that was important to me because my sister and I were raised by a single mother, and watching her, obviously looking back, you can say this. Some of the decisions she made may have not been the best ones, but it wasn't because it was her fault. It was because she didn't have all the information needed in order to make an informed decision. So, really important for us to help women specifically, and giving them that greater confidence in order to help them make better decisions that they can look at to see how it affects them now and possibly in the future.
Thank you, Christina. Marla, do you want to go next? Why did you get into wealth management or why do you do it today?
Yeah, so I think my bio that you shared answered it a little bit, but I'll dive deeper. So yeah, this was not something I really knew anything about, and for as long as I can remember, I've been a food person and always knew I wanted to start a food business. So 10 years ago, I decided to open up a food truck and catering business, but I knew that statistically the odds weren't really in my favor to have a successful business. I think the statistics are 20% of food businesses fail within the first year and about 50% close within the first 5 years. So whether it was out of stubbornness or motivation, I just told myself, you are not going to fall under that statistic. And you also can't just rely on hard work and passion to succeed. You're going to really have to learn about money and about finance. And so as a small business owner, that meant going beyond just tracking money coming in and money going out. It meant understanding how cash flow works, how to plan for taxes, how to save intentionally, and how to think long term when it comes to planning and like your money as a whole. So really, this started as a survival tactic for my food-based business. But as I began to learn more, something shifted drastically inside of me. And as my understanding for money grew, I felt like there was so much clarity and empowerment behind it. And I just started to build a passion in a field that I had no interest in prior to that moment. And what I started to see over time was that my business financials and my personal financials were becoming so much clearer, that I was having so much more flexibility, so much more understanding of just how to think about money, how to plan for the years ahead, how to structure things. And it really created a massive shift in the person that I was becoming as myself, Marla, but also as someone that owns a small business. And so I wanted to start this other business, this coaching business, as a way to help other people experience what I experienced through all of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Marla. Christian, you want to go next?
Sure. So I guess what got me into the business was a, mix of opportunity and fate, whatever you want to call it. But so it would have been during kind of COVID-19 times. I was working in a different field, different career path, and I was struggling to see how the work I was doing was building something more, right? Like I wanted to go to work, work hard, and then at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the year, at the end of the career, I wanted to be able to look back and say, here is something, right? Like I worked, I built something. And so I wanted a career where I could do that. Um, and so the reason I'm doing it in finance is really it comes down to people, right? Like it's about money, but it's about people. Money is just a tool that we use. So I do it because it is my way of helping people build something. It helps me, like building a business is fun. I love it. Uh, but the way I see it is if I can do a really good job with my clients, with my people, and help them manage their finances and make a plan and partner with them over the long term, I'm helping them build something as well, right? Like I'm helping them use their resources, their tools, their finances to build the best version of their life that they can. Uh, so that's why I do it really. It helps me build something, and I find if I do my job right, it helps them build something as well.
Love that. Thank you. So for our next question is just sort of a very open-ended question, which is wealth management is for everyone is our theme today. So what do you have to say to speak to that theme? Wealth management is for everyone. This is something I think that is not all of our kind of perception about this wealth management term and profession and this service that you all offer. So yeah, what do you want to talk to our audience today about with that? Let's start with Marla this time.
Okay. So, as someone that is self-taught, I definitely feel that wealth management is for every type of person. I think one of the issues is that the industry as a whole hasn't really made it very clear that wealth management is open for everyone. I think for a long time, it's kind of been positioned as something that you like graduate into. And it's like once you have wealth, then you can have those conversations and you can do those things. Um, but the reality is that that mindset is kind of what keeps people like out of the room. And if you're out of the room, you miss the information, you miss the tools, and you miss the conversations that kind of create the opportunity in the first place. And I think, in my personal opinion, this is where there's so much misconception around wealth management. And it's that it's this like luxury tool that luxury people get rather than it being something that all of us can take advantage of. It really is at its core, I think, about like making intentional choices. If you understand like how much you're earning and how much you're actually keeping and how to protect that and how to grow it over time, that's sort of when the progress starts to get made. And that's something that we all should have access to. It's not really like meant for a certain group of people.
Great, thank you. Christian, you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I'll echo that. There seems to be a common, I guess, misconception, but a lot of people believe like you must be this tall to ride the ride. Like the amount of times that I hear, I'll sit down with somebody in the chair across and they go, I don't know if I have enough money to work with an advisor. And it's funny because sometimes like people got a lot of money, but like it's just it feels like a lot of times that you have to hit the certain point and then you can work with an advisor, which isn't really true, right? Like obviously, so wealth management is for everyone. People are going to use different tools and aspects of it, right? But the idea is everybody can benefit from it. Like you don't have to have X amount of dollars. And in fact, if the goal is to have X amount of dollars, wouldn't it be helpful to sit down with somebody to make a plan to get there? Right. So I think it's a great theme because yeah, I can't tell you the amount of times I hear people say, I don't know if I have enough money to work with an advisor. And it's like, no, that's not what it's about. Right. It's about making the plan. If you have it, great. But if you don't, let's make a plan to get you there. So I think I like it. I think it's a great topic.
Thank you. Christina, what do you think about that?
I agree with both of them. You know, in thinking about this question ahead of time, I was like, God, if you had to define wealth, I think every person here would first of all have a different definition. And they would probably say that it's changed over their life. It shifts depending on what situation you're in and where you are in your life. So, yeah, wealth management is for everyone. I mean, I alluded to earlier, my mother was not wealthy at all. She definitely could have used somebody to bounce some ideas off of and say, hey, what are the pros and cons of this decision that I'm making today? Right? It doesn't have to do necessarily with the money aspect of things. It could do with, you know, how much debt to take on or what to do with credit cards or a car payment. It really doesn't have to do with the managing of the wealth, right? I think that if we change it to the wealth planning, I think maybe it would have a better connotation to it so that people know it has to start early. You know, we often provide a service to our clients with young adult children in order to meet with them to get them started early thinking about this stuff versus waiting until they're 35 and you know they could have used the help the last 15 years of their life. So yeah, wealth management is for everyone, but maybe we need to get a better definition of what wealth is and then what the management part is too.
Great, thank you all for that. So digging a little bit more into that aspect of today's topic, how can wealth management services help low and middle income people toward a more prosperous life? What do you think about that? And this time we'll start with Christian.
Yeah. So it kind of piggybacks off the prior question a little bit. It's not about having $1 million or whatever and then managing it. It's about what are we starting with, right? Like what do we have now? And if you're looking at, kind of the low middle income area, then it's even more important, right? To manage what we do have, right? So I think a way that wealth management services can help people in that space is help make the best possible plan, use the best possible strategy for what we do have, right? And the more we can save now, the more we can invest now, the more we can spend later. So I think using the tools that we have in the toolbox, so to speak, so that we're making the best possible choices with what we have now sets us up for a life where we have more later on.
Great, thank you. Marla, how about you? What do you think about this?
So, I just want to say that like this is me. Like I am low to middle in income, and I can firsthand say that what I think, whether, education, wealth management, whatever terminology you want to use for it, what has been most helpful is creating clarity and creating structure. I think that when resources are tight, every financial decision matters so much more. And what wealth management helps with is prioritizing making those choices and really making sure that every dollar that you earn is working with you rather than against you. I think we all know that like knowledge is power, but especially when every dollar has an impact on the life that you're trying to live, it really makes a huge impact to give it attention. The longer that we wait to get financially organized or educate ourselves about money, the longer it's going to take to build the life that you're trying to have. And so when we are part of a community where money is tighter, that education just matters so much more. And starting as soon as possible matters so much more.
Excellent, thank you. Christina, how about you?
when Marla was talking, it made me think about, I have my children are 21 and 18. So they're at that young adult stage of life, right? And you think about oh, we're just running to grab a cup of coffee this morning, or we're eating out for lunch and things like that, and those things. And I try to. So when my youngest was in her senior year last year, I kept on saying, "Hey, listen, limit those trips to I won't name the places, but the coffee places, twice a week, right? Start making those better financial decisions now." Because those are going to impact you later on. If you get in the habit of going 5, 6, 7 times a week, then you're going to continue that. And that is going to impact you financially when you add it all up. So I was like, hey, limit it to twice a week. And she kind of was like, why would I do that? But then I watch her boyfriend, and now she talks to him about, well, you don't need to eat out twice today, or you don't need to go and get that coffee this morning. So those things do rub off, right? And it's just a basic habit to pick up or to try to limit. Um, so things like that, and then also I think one of the things that we forget is that everybody talks about the time value of money and how important that is. It's not how much you can put away today, right? There's no specific amount, like Christian was saying, that $1 million, there's no specific amount. The idea is to start today. If you can put even that dollar or that $25 a month away, that will help you tenfold in the future versus waiting till you're 50 and then starting to put the money away, right? When you think you have it. So when we think we're settled. So yeah, making those small decisions today will definitely help us regardless of what stage of life that we're at. Low income, middle income, higher income. The theory is that the millionaire next door is the person that's driving the car that is being held together with wire and duct tape, and that they've learned that they don't need to have the greatest and the best at all times, that they're really just focusing on the saving versus the spending.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Okay, so our next question is, what's one sort of next level money tip you wish you learned earlier in your life or you wish that more people knew about? Let's see, this time we're going to start with Marla.
All right. So I think one of the most important lessons that I wish I learned earlier on were that your motivation actually isn't as important as the systems that you put in place. I think most people don't struggle with money because they don't care. They tend to struggle because finance relies on willpower, and willpower is a really challenging thing to get control of. I always kind of compare money to food, in the sense that, like, we all know what it means to eat well, right? We know that fruits and vegetables are good for us and fried food is bad, but how many of us actually eat as well as we should on a daily basis? So it's not really a matter of the knowledge end, it's more the willpower end of things. I would say that everyone here has motivation. Like, you came to this webinar, you're paying attention, you want to make smart choices. But once it's over, what will you do with what you learned today? Once again, all the knowledge in the world doesn't matter if your psychology around money isn't stable. So that was kind of a long intro to the next level thing. But one of the things that I try to teach my clients is basically how to remove willpower and emotions from your money making choices. And one of the best ways to do that is automation. And a lot of people will do auto pay for your bills, let's say, but you can also automate your savings and your investings as well. And when you do that, you stop relying on your willpower and the little, like, conscious bits of you that come in and are like, oh, today was stressful, I'll do this tomorrow. Or like, it's holiday season and there's a million things going on, I'll deal with this next year. When you automate investing and savings, it's happening behind the scenes while you're putting your attention towards the other 1,000 things that seem more important. And what I think is really cool about this is, like, this isn't something that takes that much energy or that much time, and everyone can do it themselves. And once the system is set up, it's working for you all year round, every day while you're awake and while you're asleep. So that would kind of be my like next level uh, money tip.
Awesome. Thank you. Christina, you want to go next?
So I have two. I have one for us everyday people and then one for small business owners specifically. So we'll start with the everyday one, and it kind of ties in with what Marla was saying. Mine was monitoring your credit, right? Your credit is critical. Think of it as your social security number almost, and it really is tied together. But if you have a good credit score, you're going to probably qualify for better mortgage rates, car loans, being able to rent a nice apartment, right? Your credit score, your credit reports are really important. And why I say that ties into what Marla was saying is that when my oldest turned 18 and she wanted her first credit card. And I said, all right, you can get a credit card, but the only stipulation that I have is that it is set up to be paid off completely every single month automatically. I don't want you to worry about late fees or just forgetting about it altogether. And it had to have a low limit, but I really wanted her to one set it up automatically because it's like Marla said, it takes no willpower, right? You just get it done and you don't have to worry about it. Set it up on auto. But two, it's going to protect her credit score from being negatively affected by anything. So that was really important for me. So people concentrating on something as simple as their credit score and credit report, I think is critical for the whole wealth management building process. Now, for small business owners, my one piece of nugget would be do not tie up your personal stuff with your business stuff. It is a mistake every single time long term. It is a total pain for you to have to go through later on and try to separate it. Doesn't matter if you're sole proprietor. And you know, a lot of people, that's how we start off as sole proprietors. And it's very easy to combine everything and just be writing checks and using them as, you know, they're the same type of pot that you're choosing from, but everything should be separate. You know, all bills should be separated and you should have a fine line between what is personal and what is business. So I would say that is my one thing for small business owners.
Great, thank you. And Christian, next level money tip.
Yeah, shoot. I don't know. I don't even know if it qualifies as next level because it's pretty simple, but in terms of impact, it can have a huge one, right? Don't keep all your money in the bank, right? Like that's super basic, but that's kind of where I think a lot of people, that's where we default to. Like we save our money in a savings account or in a checking account. And we think, that's like the place we go to save money. And I think once we can get out of that mindset of just having money at the bank, your ability to build, we'll call it wealth, money, whatever, goes up exponentially simply because we've made that one change. We're looking at other options. So yeah, I would say instead of just keeping all your money at the bank, you should have a couple, two, three different types of accounts that you use that you regularly contribute to. Everyone thinks, my retirement account, my 401k, and some like, small business owners, you might not have a 401k, but there's still options that they're great options for you that work really well as far as retirement goes. So instead of just having, money in the bank, have your money in the bank, certainly have a retirement account, but then also you can have a third separate type of account. It's not a retirement account. You can get the money when you need it. But if you don't need it, that money's going to sit and it's going to grow faster than it would in the bank. So ideally, I think as general advice, having three separate accounts to keep money in is great. You got your bank account for the short term, right? Money that you're going to spend soon. You got your retirement account for the long term, money that you're not going to spend for a long time. But then you got this middle bucket, this investment account that not a lot of people have. And it can be a huge game changer as far as either using that money to save for retirement if you don't need it, or when something comes up and you need a new car, a new roof, a new boiler, whatever, you got a place to draw from. So it's by no means it's not rocket science, but I think that can really help set people up to be in a very strong financial decision just by saving money across 3 different account types instead of just one.
Great. Thank you all. All very different pieces of advice, which I think is great. People can go away with today. So this is our last kind of core question for today. If someone cannot afford wealth management services right now, what are a couple of steps they can take on their own, like today, tomorrow, to improve their own financial situation? And I know some of the things you just shared might fall into that. So it's okay if you just need to elaborate on what you just said, or if there's something different. And this time we're going to start with Christina.
I think that the easiest thing with today's technology is there are tons of apps out there that help you monitor your spending. And if you can get a hold or an understanding of your spending, then that will help you for years to come, right? So use an app, just get on one. I would stay off of the chat boards and groups that are always talking about the next big money move. I would avoid those. That's another easy thing to do. But using an app to help you track your spending, and I know that there's even apps that say, "Hey, you have these recurring payments that do you even know about all of these? And do you want to continue them?" I mean, things like that really help you figure out where you're spending your money, work very, very well.
Great, thank you. Marla.
So I would say awareness is really an important first step, and kind of in the same realm as Christina was saying, sitting down and getting clear with your numbers is a really great first step. Pretty much everyone that I work with, budgeting is the foundation of what we do. And recording what's coming in, what's going out, what debts you have. A lot of people forget the rates that they're paying on their debts or how many years are left on it. And also, am I saving any money? Where is it going? How much am I saving? Am I not saving? And as Christina mentioned, like, you really don't need any fancy software for it. The apps are wonderful. I do mine on a spreadsheet. I share a simple budgeting spreadsheet with all of my clients, or you could just do it pen and paper if that's your style as well. But I think that the clarity around your spending and your income is really empowering. And at the end of the day, you can't make improvements if you don't see what's going on. So having that top-down approach of how things are moving and flowing is a foundational step to managing your money properly. And then you can kind of see what's serving you and what's not serving you and make adjustments from there.
Great. Christian.
Yeah, so I'll echo the first 2 sets of comments, but then add kind of another level. So yeah, off the bat, track your spending. Like, even if you don't change anything right off the bat, this is what I tell people all the time when I'm sitting down. Like, next month, just track what you spend. Like, don't spend less, but just get an idea of, like, what does it cost to keep the wheels going around every month, right? And then make changes from there. Save automatically. Like Marla said, don't rely on having to log on and move money every time you need to save. Just set it up to happen automatically so you don't need to worry about it. But last, I would say, so the question is, if someone can't afford wealth management services, what do you do? I mean, I would say you might be able to afford wealth management services, right? Because there's so many different advisors, there's so many different fee structures that we use, and it's not all crazy expensive, right? So I mean, here's 3 resources right here on this call. If you feel you're in the getting started stage, and if you feel you can't afford it, I would say, well, what do we need? Like, because maybe we don't need to be sitting with a financial advisor for, 20 sessions at 2 hours a session, right? Maybe all you need is a 1 hour sit down conversation, right? Maybe you just need to talk to somebody for an hour or for 2 hours, something like that. And that doesn't have to be expensive, right? So that would be my one tip is if it feels like you can't afford it, it might not be as expensive as you think for just something basic, right? So uh, you got 3 resources right here, right? We don't need to go into fee structures and what everything costs, but I would say that even if you feel you can't afford it, hey, reach out, reach out to a couple different advisors, let them know what you're looking for, and you may find somebody who actually can help you out, and offer you what you need just to get started. So that's it. I'll stop talking now, but
No, that's great. Thank you for making that point. I think, and with that, I'd like to invite the three of you, if you would like to put your contact information in the chat, and we can also put that in the follow-up email to our attendees today, if that's okay with you, in case anybody would like to reach out and have a chat. That would be very welcome. So now, well, we have like 2 things left to do in the next 20 or so minutes. Well, I think this session can go a little bit longer than that, but I don't know if people have to jump right at the hour. But we have just a few little notes for you to close the meeting about kind of what we have coming up next for other sessions. One of them being retirement related. I know that that was kind of mentioned a little bit. So I'm going to run through those really quick for you so you kind of know what to expect next in case any of that is of interest. You're welcome to join us for those. And then we have a little bit of time for some Q&A from the audience. So be thinking about what your questions are for the folks, for our panelists today. Okay, so just want to let you know that coming up next, we have more more financial empowerment webinars. We have, I think, 5 of them left, all different kinds of topics. You can find all of the above at adirondack.org/events on our events page. And all of the registrations and information are there about all of them. And then we also have, for our entrepreneurs on the call today, we have an entrepreneur roundtable, which is another virtual and multi-session series that we have going on right now. And that's all about building community among entrepreneurs in the North Country. I know it can be lonely out there, and we really want to provide a space for people to come together. And even if you can't drive to one in person that maybe your local chamber is doing or something like that, or if you want to do all of the above, that's a great program. We've had one already, but people are still welcome to join. So if that's something that's of interest to you, please don't feel shy about joining in the next session, which is, the date is on the events page, and I don't have it in my brain right now. But we have also, we have other topics about financial empowerment, including prepare for retirement starting today, like we mentioned, keeping business and personal finances straight, which has also been mentioned in this call, employee benefits for small businesses, future planning for you and your business, and insurances to be familiar with as a business owner. We also have Adirondack Buyer Days, our annual wholesale trade show for micro and small maker businesses and retailers who are looking to source locally handmade products for their store. And then with Adirondack Buyer Days, we have 2 preparatory webinars for our vendors that are also open to the public. One is about building a beautiful booth, so that could apply to people who do farmers markets, craft fairs, anything like that, including wholesale shows. And then we also have a wholesale prep one, which is kind of a primer on doing wholesales from the selling side. And those are both presented in partnership with the Small Business Development Center in Canton. So all kinds of stuff going on, and there's more from ANCA, but that's just what's coming from the small business team kind of this winter, what we have planned for you. So we hope to see you at one or more of those if you're able to make it. And now we'll jump back into our Q&A session. So if anybody has a question for our panelists here today, you can feel free to put them in the chat, or you can come off mute and tell us what they are. I'm going to ask a question then. If you can leave the audience with one nugget of money wisdom today, which I do feel like you've already left the audience with multiple nuggets of money wisdom. So to be clear, but if there's anything else that you want to share with the audience that we didn't get to today, or that you kind of wish more people knew about, what would it be? Is there anybody who has? And I'm just going to leave that one open so you all can kind of decide if you want to talk about that.
Sure. I do feel like this kind of got hit upon already, but I guess I'll just re-emphasize that the one nugget of wisdom I would say is that you don't need to be in the perfect circumstance to make progress with money. As mentioned earlier, like a lot of people are kind of like waiting to earn more or to know more or to feel totally prepared to make financial decisions for their future. And what's more important is really just starting where you are now with what you have and taking one intentional step at a time to create progress for yourself. I think people worry so much about making the wrong decision that they end up not making one at all. And putting off saving, investing, and planning for your future until you feel more confident can be so much more expensive in the long run than having an imperfect start. So yeah, just because no one ever taught you this doesn't mean it's too hard or too time consuming for you to learn some of the skills now. And if you just leave here remembering anything, it would be that money is truly a tool. And once you learn how to use it, even if you're only learning to use like a little bit of it, it really does give you options and freedom and peace of mind.
Great. Thanks for that, Marla. Any of our other panelists want to say something about that?
Sure. So there's a lot to know, right? Like we've talked about a bunch of stuff here today. At the end of the day, it's not about what you know, it's about what you do, right? And we all have those pieces of financial advice that we've heard about like a long time ago, and we're like, I need to do that. I know I need to do that. And like we don't do them, right? So what I would leave you with is if you heard something on this call today that you said, oh, I know I got to do that. Do it, right? Reach out to one of us, do it however you need to like get it done. But if something tripped in your mind that says, I know I've been needing to do that, I've needed to get that question answered, I've had to set up this thing, go ahead, take the next steps. If you can do it yourself, great. If the next step is call somebody for help, like I said, you got 3 people here to call. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not about what you know, it's about what you do. So however we can help you, take that next step that you kind of already need to know you need to take. Reach out, get it done, check the box.
Awesome. If you were waiting for a sign, here it is, right?
It's kind of like when you want to be a parent. When is the perfect time? There is no perfect time, right? So if you're going to wait for that, it's never going to happen, that type of thing. But I guess my one nugget would actually be on the side of if you do call somebody and you meet with them, make sure to understand what somebody's recommending for you and ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. We've been taught that our entire lives. But I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting across from somebody and asked them, so they're brand new, they bring me what they're invested in, and I was like, oh, okay, so why did you get into this? And they're like, I don't know. And I said, all right, so what was the conversation between you and the advisor that you were working with? Well, they just said that this is something that I should do, but I don't understand it. And for me, part of this whole wealth planning and investment planning and financial planning journey that we're on has to do with education. And so it's very important for me to educate my clients on not only what they have, but why it's important for them and why it might be the best fit for them based on the information that they provided. So, and my thing is that I tell them every time is don't make the decision today. Like I won't let them sign documents that day. and make them actually leave, go home, think about it, figure out a question or two. How much does it cost? Always ask how much it costs you, right? And if they tell you that it's free, run because nothing is free. We are all getting paid some way, somehow. So understanding the costs, what the risks are involved, and what it ultimately will do to help whatever situation that you went to that person with, but really understanding at least the premise behind it, if not the actual discussion.
Great, thank you. Some very, very good little nuggets of wisdom today from all of you. All right, we have just a few more minutes left. If anybody has any last burning questions, I'm going to give just a moment for that. And other than that, we are going to send everybody on their way. Okay, sounds quiet. So I think we're good. I think people have, hopefully everybody has at least one next thing they can do after this call today, and maybe you'll hear from some folks for follow-ups. Thank you all again so much for your time, to our panelists, to our attendees. We really appreciate you all being here with us today and sharing your time and your expertise and your questions. We will be sending out an email a little bit. It'll take us a little bit, but we have the recording. We'll get ready for you, and any notes, and also the contact for all of our panelists. So look for that. And we hope we'll see you at our next sessions. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye, everybody.